Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, c'est lundi le 25 octobre. Looking at our schedule for this week, il y a deux discussions, just like we've had the last few weeks. TPR, les gestes, are going to be the same as last week. Just keep practicing them. Song of the week, I forgot to change this. It's C'est l'Halloween, which we'll look at momentarily. Et puis la traduction cette semaine, c'est La Grenouille qui aime chanter, not the version with the personne spéciale stuff where we talked about her as a character, but instead the story we did. And as I said last week, there is a little bit of overlap there, but that you're translating that part of your stories document. So if you go to, let's look together, if you go to Schoology and you open up the class stories document, Les Histoires, and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that there is a personne spéciale about Annabelle la Grenouille. That was from last week. And then La Grenouille qui aime chanter, this is the story about Annabelle la Grenouille. So this is what we are translating this week. Okay. As always, you'll have either a Flipgrid or Meet participation where you'll be doing some items that involve speaking. We will have a story this week. I have not yet decided whether we're going to do Personne Spéciale this week or something Halloween related. So I will figure that out and let you know tomorrow. That will be with quizzes over, obviously, as well. And then we'll have our quick write for the week, the first one of quarter deux. And then our weekly check-in and Muzzy. So when we look at these different items, let's see which ones are actually for. Okay, I'm back. Somebody just came in the room. Alors, aujourd'hui, we have le mot de passe, aujourd'hui dans l'histoire. We'll talk about that in a second. You have your weekend talk, which you'll do either in Flipgrid or as part of our Meet mercredi. Les gestes, like I said, same as last week. La chanson is a Halloween theme. Et la traduction, oh, it's an interesting spelling of story, de l'histoire, the story, La Grenouille qui chante, which we just looked at on Schoology. Okay, le mot de passe, j'ai peur, j'ai peur. J'ai peur en anglais, say I'm scared. And this, just like j'ai 15 ans or j'ai 14 ans, j'ai 13 ans, when we're talking about our age, is an expression that does not directly translate in English, because instead of saying literally I am, je suis, we're saying j'ai, I have. So j'ai peur, although we would typically say I'm scared in English, literally means I have fear. I have fear. Also make sure you copy that down into your cahier. C'est numéro 10. Et aujourd'hui dans l'histoire, c'est lundi le 25 octobre et c'est l'anniversaire de Georges Bizet. L'anniversaire, is that wedding anniversary? We should know this by now. L'anniversaire, c'est birthday. Georges Bizet était un compositeur français, un compositeur comme Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, etc. Un compositeur de musique classique. Il était un prodige et il est entré dans le Conservatoire de Paris à l'âge de 9 ans. Un prodige, en anglais, we have a similar word, prodigy, which you may or may not be familiar with. Prodigy means that you perform beyond your age, that you are you're particularly good at something at a very young age. La Conservatoire de Paris, another thing you may or may not know is that a conservatory in English, a conservatory of music specifically, is a special school, college where you go for music to become more educated about music. And La Conservatoire de Paris is a very prestigious one. And not only is it prestigious, but il est entré dans la Conservatoire de Paris à l'âge de 9 ans. like I implied a second ago, that's typically someplace you're going to go when you're college age. So, wow. Il est connu pour ses opéras, surtout Carmen. Il est connu, say known for, ses opéras. Carmen, if you haven't heard of Carmen before, it is a pretty well-known opera, and you might notice if you click on this link that you recognize the song that is on this link. It's only one song from the opera, but it's pretty common. Il est mort à l'âge de 36 ans. C'est tragique, hein? 36 ans, c'est jeune, very young. And then Stromae, who is a recording artist, a current recording artist, kind of like a hip-hop R&B type sound, a écrit, wrote une chanson inspirée par l'opéra de Bizet. So he, in our current times, wrote a song that was inspired by Georges Bizet. So something else to check out here. Comment dit-on compositeur en anglais? Oh. Et puis, il avait quel âge quand il a commencé à la Conservatoire de Paris? So those are your two discussion questions. Weekend talk cette semaine. C'est qu'est-ce que tu as regardé ce week-end? Qu'est-ce que tu as regardé ce week-end? Est-ce que tu as regardé un film, la télévision, TikTok, YouTube, or any combination of the two, or of the four? So, j'ai regardé un film. J'ai regardé la télévision. J'ai regardé YouTube, etc. That part you'll be saying out loud for your Flipgrid. Mais aujourd'hui, you're going to decide what your answer is, and then just like we've done the last couple weeks, make a text box, put your name near the answer that corresponds to what you actually did. Les gestes, like I said, these are the same as last week's, but keep practicing them. La chanson, c'est une chanson canadienne qui s'appelle C'est l'Halloween. Halloween isn't really celebrated in most places in Europe or in France specifically, but it is celebrated in Canada. So this is a Canadian French song that includes a lot of cognates, and it's just kind of a silly little kid's song. So watch it and see how much you can understand. And I may or may not have some kind of activity with that later this week. That's kind of to be determined. Dernière chose, last thing, you're doing your traduction, la grenouille qui aime chanter. You know the drill by now. You should have it copied with lines skipped at the back of your cahier. And then just make sure you're translating in a different color or highlighting the English. This is a great resource, wordreference.com, if you are stuck on anything. But then here are your links for middle school and high school to upload those pictures. Please make sure those pictures are legible. I've had some really, really great ones and some that I've had to ask you to re-upload because I wasn't able to read them. So just try to be careful about that before you submit the assignment. Okay, any questions? You know where to find me. Au revoir tout le monde.